Hi dear friends, good morning. Welcome to my channel. It's Aksharadhari by Devraj. I hope you guys are working towards improve our communication in English. So let me start today's paper. It's 12th May. It's almost 26th video and class I am going to update. So I hope you guys are enjoying learning English. If you guys have before going to start, if you please subscribe to my channel, like and comment, and if you guys have any comments or queries, please leave the comment in the comment box that I can help you out to raise all your query or doubts. So it's related to Akshadhara is totally related to education, healthcare, and the personal interviews, especially for the teachers. So let me start today's newspaper reading. Yes, guys, let me start today's newspaper reading and hope you guys are enjoying learning and earning and doing well everything. Let me start today's newspaper reading. This is the front page. Is the monarchy relevant in the 21st century? Imran Khan's arrest was illegal. NIA searches Shaheen Bagh sieges devices. Governor's decision to call flow test wrong. SC court effectively opens a door for disqualification of Shinde camp but says Maharashtra governor was justified in inviting him to form the government as Thackeray quit voluntarily before the trust vote. Out of the Singh voters list to be blamed. SC Delhi government has control over officers. Delhi cabinet ministers greet Arvind Kejriwal as he arrives at the secretariat after SC ruling on regulation of services row. Voter turnout this time is the highest ever. RTA group writes to chief secretary. This is the front page. Not full apathy, but out of sync voters list a reason for low turnout. Analysts and citizens. 2 killed, 35 injured as 2 private buses collide. It's too bad. Few colleges counsel students about benefits of subjects other than computer science. Fairfax India to acquire additional 3% equity interest in BIAL. SSLC examination. These institutions celebrate spectacular performance. RTA Group writes to SCS alleging lack of transparency in payment to contractors. Turnout in assembly elections at 73.19% is a historic high for state. Record polling was registered despite a dismal show in Bangalore. She Election Commission officials 79 constituencies out of the total 224 reported a turnout between 80% and 90%. Kalyana Karnataka sees an increase in voter turnout. Coastal Karnataka is the only region to see a dip. Kumaraswamy flies to Singapore for medical tests to return tomorrow. Devegowda spoke to other party candidates and took feedback from them. Decades as drama exude confidence in old meetings. Exit polls will be proved wrong and BJP will get majority, say top leaders. Kidnapped 8 years ago, teen boy reunited with parents. It's too bad. It's very good, but incident was bad. Tennarasu gets finance. PTI given IT and digital services. BJP distributed money as it feared losing polls. Spotlight. Light of these people, financial problems, social media and online platforms. Akipiki is a bird catchers to entrepreneurs of traditional medicine. Around 600 people from the Akipiki tribe were stuck in Sudan and almost everyone has returned home. According to Karnataka State District Disaster Management Authority officials, back from conflict-torn Sudan, people belonging to this tribe are not averse to going back. Metropolis, Tales in Stone, Brick and Mortar. Some of the buildings in this project include Delhi's Jantar Mantar, the Government Museum and Art Gallery in Chandigarh, HM Ahmedabad, designed by Louis Khan, Kanyakumari's Padmanabhapuram Palace, and the Victoria Terminus in Mumbai. Street through the Alliance India Tecton, a photo exhibition that will be held in the city between May 14 and 27 Presidency Complex. Multifaceted, devised the diverse history of India through its architecture. The problem with India's multi-alignment stand. Morality majority. Supreme Court verdict is an indictment of how regime changed in Maharashtra. Marriage for all, even it for a few. Descent into chaos. Pakistan politicians are falling into armies trapped by attacking one another. Let me read editorial page, guys. The problem with India's multi-alignment stand. China's recent mediation efforts to resolve the Ukraine crisis have once again spotlighted India's approach to conflict resolution. By holding the North Atlantic Treaty Organization's eastward expansion responsible for instigating the war, by painting America as the biggest obstacle to ceasefire, by exploiting the differences among Western countries regarding the extent of support to Ukraine, by further cementing the Beijing Moscow relationship, and ensuring the survival of the Vladimir Putin regime. China has effectively positioned itself in opposition to the American approach. This is not how India views its role in resolving the conflict. India has increasingly used varied symbolic instruments for power to enhance its soft power appeal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi now projects India as the mother of democracies and as a moral force to impose global peace. In sharp contrast to the Chinese President Xi Jinping first outreach last month to the Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky, since the Russian invasion, Mr. Modi has spoken to Mr. Zelensky many times. In October and December last year, Mr. Modi, in his telephonic conversation with Mr. Zelensky, had expressed India's solidarity with Ukraine while extending support for peace efforts. And in September, Mr. Modi had publicly told Mr. Putin that today's era is not of war, a remark that seemed to be a reprimand to Moscow. Even the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken felt compelled to describe this widely reported remark as significant. Washington understands the importance of India's continuous engagement with Ukraine because that is an important way of bringing New Delhi's response to the Ukraine war into alignment with its own geopolitics. The geopolitics of the Indo-Pacific and Ukraine conflict are in many ways interconnected. The regular Modi-Zelensky interactions may be seen as underscoring India's rising stature and a recognition of its unique position in the emerging global order. Despite Western criticism of India's continued energy imports from Russia and export of excess refined Russia fuel to the European market during Ukraine, Deputy Foreign Minister Eman Japorova recent visit to New Delhi, she remarked in a widely reported tweet that India wants to be the Vishwa Guru, the global teacher and arbiter. In our case, we have got a very clear picture. Aggressor against innocent victim, supporting Ukraine is the only right choice for true Vishwa Guru. The hint here is that the Vishwa Guru image that the government seeks for the country will remain imperfect. If India refuses to take a strong immoral position on Russia's violation of Ukraine's sovereignty, nationalist ideas have always influenced the Indian state, contributing to their further proliferation in society and politics. The choice of the Vishwaguru, praised by Mr. Japorova, is not accidental, as it is at the core of the Modi government nationalist foreign policy discourse. The contemporary silence of Vishwaguru image, which builds on historical trends in India's political thought, seeking to emphasize the distinctiveness of the country's cultural ethos and civilizational values, also highlights the unique nature of soft power in foreign policy debates. Soft war is simultaneously ubiquitous and ambiguous, accepted as significant yet narrow in its policy impact. It should be understood as any other form of non material power which interacts with material resources or hard power, either enlarging their impact or making up for their absence. Lack of hard power. That India lacks hard power for has been acknowledged by Mohan Bhagavat, chief of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, the ideological fountainhead of India ruling political dispensation. In a recent speech, he had said that if India had been adequately powerful, it would have stopped the Ukraine war. He argued that Russia attacked Ukraine. It is being opposed, but nobody is ready to stop Russia because Russia has power and it threatens. Drawing a contrast with supposedly selfish global powers, Mr. Bhagwat asserted that if India had such power in its hand, that such then such an incident would not have come before the world. This narrative assumes that a powerful Indian civilization's state will stand for global peace and stability. While New Delhi has expressed its disapproval of the Ukraine war, it has avoided taking a clear position in many UN resolutions on the issue. This may be understandable as India has often taken an evasive position on conflicts that involve its traditional allies. However, critics are not unreasonable in arguing that this ambiguity doesn't behove a notion aspiring to become a permanent member of the UNSC, which implies a commitment to speak as a global voice against territorial aggression and rights violations similar to what Russia has unleashed on Ukraine. Moreover, the normative pillars of the democratic, self-confident, moral and superior Vishwaguru identity cannot be identical to those underlying the cynical hegemon and maximizing its power at all costs. Bereft of any morality, while New Delhi's seemingly evasive position in the Ukraine war underlines India's traditional discomfort in viewing its national interests in binary terms, as well as Russia's military and geopolitical importance for India's military preparedness. Yet Russia's justifications for its military actions in Ukraine do not resonate among most of the India's political elite. These justifications are sometimes parroted by China, including the latest unabashedly pro-Russian statement by the Chinese ambassador in France regarding the legal status of the post-Soviet republics, with a view to reserving the right to use force against Taiwan. India has no such revisionist motives. India's views on sovereignty converges with a universally acceptable Westphalian notion and thus clash fundamentally with the communist China's political philosophy of might is right. Democracies enjoy legitimacy globally, and this legitimacy can transpose an authoritarian ruler's use of force into violence against the population. Ukraine is seen as a victim which is resisting aggression from an authoritarian neighbor. The Modi Zelensky interactions highlight the fact that such narratives engender Indian sympathies for the victimized target. Nevertheless, the war alone is not sufficient to undermine India's historical ties with Russia, which is based as much on New Delhi's military dependence on Moscow as it is on the anti-colonial strand of India's strategic autonomy doctrine. A pursuit of party alignment may have given New Delhi some diplomatic space in the ongoing war in Ukraine. However, it may not be sufficient for India to try to play the role of a mediator between Russia and Ukraine. India currently lacks the material resources to match the extent of China's economic and military potential. Through its charm offensive of a pony face diplomacy, Mr. Xi's primary aim is to discourage Mr. Zelensky to launch the much discussed counteroffensive so that Russia dependency on China rises further. Driven by the sunk cost policy, Mr. Putin has unleashed forces that have already done immense damage to Russia's global standing and offended most of the democratic world. Thus, the Modi government must ensure that India's refusal to condemn Russian belligerence and continued increase in the import of Russian fuel is not interpreted as a pro-Moscow approach. While India strives with piecemeal distancing from Russia will take a bit longer as New Delhi struggles to find some maneuvering space in the emerging nexus between Russia and China. This is about the international news, which is about India and Russia and Ukraine. Morality and majority. Marriage for all, even hit for a few. Let me read this. In a reality show, Fabulous Lives of Bollywood Wives, Sima Tipari of the series Indian Matchmaking was asked about the possibility of matchmaking for queer couples. Akhil Purli was she is not doing that right now because it is not allowed in India and she will not commit to taking on queer clients when it is. Even as season 3 of her show dropped, the Supreme Court began hearing the case for marriage equality within the ambit of the Special Marriage Act. If the court rules in favor of expanding the definition of marriage beyond that of a union between biological men and women, Mr. Taparia's response leaves enough room for ambiguity, for legal rights to not automatically and translate to social sanction. And this is exactly what the arguments in the courtroom and behind illustrate. A Bar Council of India's resolution recently quoted a dubious survey on 99% of Indians being against marriage equality, while most sober commentators argue that the society is not ready for what the petitioners seek. Should laws be a reflection of societal morality, or should they push the envelope by making certain unions possible, irrespective of social approval? This was one of the questions extensively debated in Parliament as part of the special marriage bill itself. Common threads in parliamentary debate. Minutes, former member of Parliament Parliamentary debate minutes, former member of parliament Vijayalakshmi Pandit features on as one of the bill's proponents. She predicted that the law would not have many immediate takers, but that an emancipated next generation would demand the right to choose their partners. She conceived the civil union law as a calculated, rational decision where a freedom willfully granted is better than a freedom that is taken. Alice Debates 1954, September 1st. 1812 1816. Like the other women representatives, she also believed that the proposed law could improve the lives of women. Despite some powerful backers, there was a perception among at least sections of the two houses that allowing citizens to marry anyone of their choice could potentially lead to a collapse of society and civilization. The bill's divorce provisions, in particular, had raised fears of a proliferation of sexual desires. The question of queer unions was also briefly touched upon, with homophobic remarks. The other common thread that often resurfaces even today is that securing more rights and visibility for a plurality of identities and desires. In some way, imposing the lifestyle of a few onto a presumed majority that is not represented in these struggles. Former President Dr. Rajendra Prasad had bitterly opposed the Hindu Code Bill in his private correspondence with Jawaharlal Nehru because he believed that the measure was forcing something on a vast majority because some people, according to him, a small, likely microscopic minority considered it a right. Unlike that far-reaching reform bill expanding legal rights to the LGBTQ plus community is not directly relevant to those who do not identify as queer and can, in principle, disengage from the debate, and yet, as the reactions to the court proceedings have shown, Indian polity and society still struggle with the idea of marriage, proper reform, and individual choice. Local and national politics have routinely witnessed campaigns against intercaste and intercommunity couples, and the need for social sanction often triumphs the rights appointed under the Act through a bureaucracy that has become a reflection of social morality. However, as with the issue of the so-called love jihad campaigns, conversations emerging from the marriage equality case have spread awareness of the law and its unfortunate provisions, including the publication of a notice period that violates citizens' right to privacy, where the bureaucracy phase vigilante groups have been empowered to prevent unions using extrajudicial methods and queer couples may. Unfortunately, also face a similar predicament in future. The potential for an infringement of rights guaranteed by constitutional principles, the latter of the law and court judgments gets to the heart of how Indians define marriage, and perhaps Mr. Taparia shows with its inherent casteism and sexism may indeed be representative. Marriage is very much a social decision invested in upholding hierarchies based on gender, caste, and community. Apart from violence and intimidation, the control of non-state entities is exercised simply by withholding recognition for heterosexual and queer couples alike and legal sanction. However, inadequate may offer at least some relief. Such a step will reaffirm rights as a whole. After almost 70 years, the Special Marriage Act still has fewer stakes due to political campaigns, bureaucratic overreach, and the general misconception that it only caters to interreligious couples. And a study of this law's implementation discredits the doomsday predictions of those who continue to oppose marriage reform. Social transformations are not easy, and laws in a vacuum are unlikely to disrupt the lives of vast majorities. Some citizens may not be prepared for marriage equality, just as some are not open to intercaste and intercommunity marriages. But as Pandit had argued in 1954, the law should hold out more potential than the public imagination allows for and should be aimed at improving the lives of the more marginalized. Affording rights to a sexual minority, even if it is a minority, reaffirms the rights of the citizenry as a whole. This is the 12 page, guys. Let me go to the next page. Is the monarchy still relevant in the 21st century? This is the word, the King of London, King of Britain. Facing the 8 for interview is a part of every journalist's life. US engages with India on human rights. White House. Governor's decision to call protest wrong. Not joining any front now, says Patnaik after meeting Modi. Train arson case. NIA holds searches in Shaheen Bagh. Third low intensity blast in Amritsar. 5 arrested. Pilot begins his yatra against corruption. Shinde Fadnavis must quit. on moral grounds, says with the Congress hails SC verdicts calls them path breaking. SC skepticism over Maharashtra Chief Minister's route to power. Allowing MPR and MLA views facing disqualification under the anti-defection law to participate in a protest caused by his own doings will defeat the very purpose of 10th schedule. Allowing such MLAs to attend a trust vote would amount to legitimizing a constitutional sin. Legitimizing constitutional sin. All eyes now on Speaker Navika for addition on disqualification petitions. SC says the Speaker must decide on the disqualification petitions within a reasonable period. Governor can't play a role in inter-party disputes, says court. SC rejects concentrated arguments that national interests take priority over local quibbles. Nitin meets Uddhav in Mumbai. Drugs and demographics in Manipur. The state government source attributes the current wave of tensions between majority Methi community and cookies to the actions taken by the administration since 2017 to 18 against poppy cultivation in the hill districts. BJP legislator says no forum in the hills endorses opium trade. SIT covering up caste bias say deceased IIT students scheme. Technology is a tool to empower people, says PM. As it reserves judgment on same-sex marriage case. WhatsApp promises action amid a sport in spam call. Aspirants knock at Pradhan's doors for reopening JEE application window. Vedas a friend indeed. Turkey's candidate Maron Henk drops out of tight presidential race. Indonesian's Widodo says no real progress on Myanmar peace plan. Australian Trade Minister visits China in a joint effort to repair ties. Haman fees push CS but next steps unclear. Saudi NY. Pakistan SC calls Imran Khan's arrest illegal. Orders his release. 25 dead as militants in Gaza still trade fire. Uzbekistan, once a backer of anti-Taliban forces, now bets on engagement. UK gives cruise missiles to Kyiv. Ukraine delays on counterattack. MAP and POX no longer a global health emergency. WHO. GST e-invoicing to include small firms from August 1st. Central lowers mandatory e-invoicing filing threshold to 5 crore in annual turnover from 10 crore. Move Sweden helping expand the tax net. CBIC also rolls out an automated return scrutiny. Go First Master responds to keep it a going concern. IRP LOL tells airlines stop. HDFC to raise at least 30 billion through 5-year bonds. Adani Group eyes 2.2 to 2.5 billion share sale. Sundaram achieve Q4 net rises 23% to 65 crore. Chola 2 sustain AUM growth of 22.22 to 25%. EV is a green tax to drive India growth. Jawaharlal Nehru Institute of Postgraduate Medical Education and Research. This is the sports page, guys. Have worked on my technique against the short ball. Nitish Rana. I don't like the term anchor, says Liam Livingstone. India call up not far away for Rinku, says Harbhajan. Jaiswal and Chal lead a royal thrashing of KKR. A must-win game for MI against Titans to stay in the race for playoffs. Fleming happy with cameos. Punting reused too many dot balls. Inter writes as Post started to take control of the Milan derby. Kohli admits breaking Tendulkar's records will be an emotional moment. Sarbojit Divya duos wins mixed air pistol gold. Srikanth hires Mahardi as coach with high on Paris. Athanu and Mehuli re-included in TOPS. India tries has 5-4 to finish higher on the podium. I'm already at the last page. This is the back page, and this is the text and context page. India's wheat production estimates for financial year 12.18 crore. The investment of Hyundai Motor India in Tamil Nadu 20,000 crore. The expected cotton exports from India in financial year 22-23. The slum in PO's payments in Pakistan after Imran arrest. Japan's pledge to help and facilitate Ukrainian refugees. That's the ruling on Sena versus Sena. Now, why did the court state that the call of the then Maharashtra governor to initiate a trust vote was not justified? Can the court reinstate Uddhav Thackeray? Can the courts rule on disqualification petitions? What has it said on the speaker's role? What is the stalemate over the US debate ceiling? Why is there a debate ceiling for the US? What are the consequences of a debate report to the global economy? The jurisdictional conflict in the running of Delhi. When the court declares the law and requires the constitutional authority to follow it, they have to act in compliance and not in defiance. In May 1994, Pulp Fiction premiered at the Cannes Film Festival and took home the coveted form d'Or. Or here is a quiz on the Tarantino masterpiece. So this is the end page of the newspaper, today's newspaper, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the reading, enjoyed the reading newspaper, and please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon, and see you in the upcoming videos. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.